If you're familiar with my work, you know that a lot of my work revolves around light, as light is one of the biggest factors I consider when I'm doing my photography. And in order for me to be able to control light as much as I can and to get the kind of lighting that I want, most of my work is shot in studio. As a matter of fact, it's shot right behind me in my home studio. However, in the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to expand my horizons and have been trying to shoot outside of the studio and more during blue hour and slightly past blue hour when it's dark outside, so I can still maintain control of my lighting. I ran into a problem when trying to do this, and the problem was all of my lights that I use here in my studio are lights that require a power source via an outlet. There aren't outlets out in the environment, so I needed to find a new lighting system that was going to be able to replace them while being portable. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been searching for new lights, and some companies have been kind enough to send me some to try. And one of the first lights that I was able to try was this little light, this bad boy right here, which is the Falcon F7 Mini pocket light. It is a mini LED light, and it basically checked all the boxes that I had. And in today's video, I'm gonna be doing a review on it because I've now had it for a couple of weeks and I've been able to give it a thorough review. So I'll be talking about the pros and the cons of this light because it does have some cons. It is by no means a perfect light, but it also does have a bunch of pros, and I'll be getting into that in a little bit. But before we start this video, make sure to subscribe and like. It really does help this channel grow. We just hit 5,000 subscribers, and that is absolutely insane to me. Thank you to every single one of you that subscribes and supports this channel. It means the world to me. And while you're at it, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section below. It helps the algorithm push this video to new viewers, which is always appreciated. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the review of this Falcon F7 Mini. So I will have timestamps in the description below if you guys want to skip to a specific part of the video, because this video might be a little bit longer. Let's go ahead and just begin with the pros of this little light, and then we'll get into the cons afterwards. So one of the biggest pros for this little light is just how affordable it is. This thing clocks in at less than $70. This is a huge pro to me because if I were to lose this thing, I could easily replace it without having to break the bank. And you do get a ton of value for the money that you pay, and you'll see that in a couple of minutes while I talk over all the pros. And honestly, for this price point, I don't think there's anything else that can beat it. Aperture and all those other, name brand companies make lights like this, but theirs are more expensive and they essentially do the exact same thing. So why not save a little bit of money when you can and just get this little bad boy? The price point is one of the main things that drew me to this light because I wanted something that was relatively affordable so that I could recommend it to people, as well as relatively affordable in case it were to break on me, I could replace it and not have to worry about it. For the price point, I wasn't expecting too much, but I was surprised at how much actually comes with this thing and how much value they actually managed to package into this little thing. The first pro is obviously how inexpensive it is, but let's go ahead and just kind of talk about it as a light in general. And the first thing that I was looking for when I was looking for a light that was going to replace my studio lights was portability, and this thing definitely is portable. The size of this thing is tiny. It can fit in your pocket. You can literally bring it anywhere and not have it take up any space. Pretty sure it takes up less space than some card holders, so that's absolutely insane to me. And it does pack a little bit of a punch for how small it is, which I'll dive into in a little bit, but it is really portable and it is really, really small, and it allows me to bring it basically anywhere. I do bring it along everywhere I go, even if I don't intend to use it. It's always nice having a separate light with you because sometimes you do need a little bit of fill light, and an iPhone flashlight is not going to cut it. So the portability on this thing is really nice. It's got a very compact size. It fits in your hand and you can basically take it anywhere. However, don't let its size fool you. It is still a very capable light. So let's go ahead and talk about the pros of the light quality, because for how small it is and for how cheap it is, it gives off pretty good quality light. I haven't complained about the lighting quality whatsoever. It's good enough, and that's good enough for me because for 70 bucks, I don't expect it to be the perfect light, and it definitely isn't, but it is good enough for the light quality. So it is full spectrum RGB, and it is also full spectrum Kelvin. It goes from 2500 Kelvin all the way up to 9000 Kelvin, as well as the full RGB spectrum, which is really, really nice. How much of the RGB spectrum it actually covers, I don't know, but from my experiences, it's been able to reproduce colors pretty well and actually reproduces colors better than some of my cheap lights that I use here in the studio. So that's really convenient and very nice. Alongside the stills, it also has video mode. This is an LED that is intended to be used for video. So it does have modes like police lights, fireplace, strobe, hue change, fades, I don't know what to call them. Basically, it has a bunch of different lighting modes that you can use if you're using this for video and not just photography. But for my purposes, which is photography, I don't even use these settings, which is completely fine, but just know that it is included in it, which is really nice because for 70 bucks, again, that's something that they didn't need to add, but they did, and it just adds that much more value to it. So another pro of this light is how functional it is. So when they were designing this thing, they made sure to make it as simple as possible. So there's only 2 buttons. There is a power button and a little kind of dial, kind of like a switch dial, and there's a mini LCD screen at the top that kind of tells you what's going on. They keep it pretty simple, and I like that because it allows me to get to whatever setting I'm going to pretty quickly. Obviously, it's made out of plastic, so it's not the toughest thing in the world, but they were able to put magnets in the back, which allow it to stick to metal surfaces, which is really nice. They put a 1/4-inch screw at the bottom, so you can screw this onto tripods, and they put a slight diffuser on the actual LEDs themselves, so they're already slightly diffused straight out of pocket, so you don't have to carry around a spare diffuser. However, they do include some in the packaging, which I'll get into in a second. And they added USB-C to this thing so that you can charge it with your USB-C cables that you probably already have lying around, as well as they've added battery power to this thing. So if this thing is dying, you can just plug it into an external battery and it'll keep on running as well as charging itself up. So they did put a bunch of functionality into this thing, and they really did think about as many things as they could. Again, for the price and the size of this thing, I feel like it does have a lot of functionality. And the final pro to this little LED light is the accessories. So this LED light comes in a box. It comes with a bunch of accessories. So the accessories that come with it are, it comes with 2 different diffusion gels. It comes with a little arm that allows you to attach it to either your hot shoe on your camera or a tripod. And not only does it allow you to attach it to those things, it also swivels in all directions, which is very convenient and very functional. And then it also comes with a carrying case. So these are all, again, things that they didn't need to include, but they included with it anyways, and it just adds to the value of this little $70 LED light. However, that is where the pros end. This light is not perfect, and I'm not gonna pretend that it is. So let's go ahead and dive into the cons of the Falcon 9 Mini from my perspective. The first and most noticeable thing about the LED light is how bright it gets. Although it does get bright in a very dark environment, when I was testing it and when I was using it and what I intended to use it for, it kind of fell short a little bit. I had the chance to shoot with it in a couple of different scenarios, some of which went good and some of which went bad. The ones that it went bad on were when I was shooting when there was still some visible daylight outside. So although it is brighter than a phone light, and although it is bright in a dark environment, when there is ambient light, it isn't going to be powerful enough to really fill in anything. It'll be a very faint light, and because it's getting mixed in with the daylight, the light that you actually see on your model is not going to be the same light that is being projected from the actual light. So I like to use it for red, and the reds were looking more like a pink on the model because of just how washed out the actual red was getting by the time it hit the model because of all the ambient light. That is one of the biggest cons of this light that you need to keep in mind, is it is just not the brightest thing in the world, which is fine if you're in a studio environment. But again, like I said, I wanted to use it outside of a studio environment, and it kind of fell short with that. The other con, and the only other con I can think of for this little light, is how cumbersome it is to use at times. What I mean by this is, although it is a very small package and although it is very portable if you bring it by itself, once you add the diffusion gel and the hot shoe adapter / tripod adapter, it kind of bulks this thing up to the point where it's not really as portable. Obviously, if you want it as portable as possible, you can just carry it around like this. However, when you do carry it around like this, it brings down its functionality, which kind of defeats the purpose of it being a portable LED light. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of nitpicking, but that is just something to consider, that although it is really tiny and although it is really small, in order for you to get the most functionality out of it, you will need to bring its accessories along, which will bog down the portability slightly. Other than those two things, I think this is a very capable light. I think this is a very nice light. I definitely still bring this along with me because you never know when you need an extra light. And although it's not the brightest in the world, it is way better than a phone light, and it's way better than anything else you could pick up for the same price range. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you guys found this video useful or you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Make sure to go ahead and like and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. If you aren't following me on social media, go ahead and follow me on all my socials at Moody Darkroom. That's Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, TikTok, you name it, I'm on there. Go ahead and give me a follow so you can stay up to date with all my content and all my photos. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of this little light, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.